Hey, happy, beautiful, amazing day. Dr. Bob Rakowski here. Today's update, today's health tip brought to you by a question or inspired by a question I received this morning from someone who felt really stuck. So I don't know if you ever saw the movie 127 Hours, but that is the picture of real life hero Aaron Ralston. And he basically went hiking by himself, probably not a really good idea, and slipped into a chasm and literally had his arm pinned between a boulder. So, you look at the title of the book, Between a Rock and a Hard Place. And what does that mean? It means you're in a difficult circumstance where you have two choices that neither is very good. So he didn't realize till day 5 that he could cut his arm off. Interestingly enough, he was trying to chisel away where his arm was stuck. And he hit his arm and he realized he didn't feel it. And he felt this psst of gas. So, whatever gangrene or infection was setting in, the arm was dead. So at that point, he came to realize no big deal to cut the arm off because it was gone anyway. So maybe he could save his life. But I remember this quote about change. And some of us hate change so much that we're willing to keep losing. And others hate losing so much that they're willing to change. So which category are you in and in what area of the life? And, we can always change in advance, and change is the one constant in the universe. And if you think about this, that which kept him basically bound, locked, trapped was ultimately what set him free. So that's really a metaphor for life. So, he went from kind of a renegade climber rebel to suddenly a motivational speaker, because what a story. And can't we all create a similar story about something that we just plain dumped in order to set ourselves free to create the life that we are looking for? So back to this conversation on stress. So feeling stuck is very distressing. If you don't see a way out, you don't see a brighter future, it's hard to think of anything more distressing, but now that's when you have to start looking for a way out. I've talked about the deadly quartet. I think stress is the top killer. I think it always has been. You go back to fossil remains. When the skulls had ground teeth, these skulls died about 15.4 years earlier. Yeah, they can get that precise, 15.4. So it's going to take years from your life and life from your years. Medical literature now, there's a condition known as cortisol resistance. Bodies begin to ignore constant stimuli. So, here I am, there's some kind of air conditioner in the background. Do I hear it? Not unless I pay attention, because my body says, okay, that's constant, filter it out. Whether you're wearing glasses or a watch or a Fitbit or whatever, you don't know you have it on. Sometimes I'll put my glasses on my head and I'll go, okay, where did I put those? Because bodies ignore constant stimuli. Now let's talk about the reset. So melatonin is actually, something we think about to go to sleep, but it has a lot of body effects, and it buffers our brain drive of stress on the adrenal glands very powerfully. And so now the literature is catching up. It says, melatonin may be helpful for adrenal insufficiency. Why? Because you give the adrenals a break. Interestingly enough, both the chronic stress management, adrenal cortex, and acute stress management, adrenal medulla, melatonin is actually good for both. So I just use these words. Melatonin literally puts the brakes on stress. Now, the gut has 400 times the melatonin as the brain, as the pineal gland. And so, by the way, melatonin should not cross the blood-brain barrier. If it did, you'd be asleep 24/7. But melatonin is making the gut because it has a lot of gut benefits, a lot of immune benefits, a lot of energy benefits, a lot of anti-cancer benefits, a lot of antioxidant benefits. And it certainly has major stress benefits. And someone says, I'm worried if I'm getting too much. No, toxicity, things like that. And it's a very powerful emerging anti-cancer molecule. So I like melatonin every single waking hour, 1 to 2 milligrams every waking hour. Well, what about other forms of stress? How about mental stress? How about theanine, which is an amino acid in green tea that actually calms the brain without producing drowsiness? And then finally, Ganoderma, king of herbs. It's known as the herb of spiritual potency, but it calms the body, the mind, and the spirit. 3 different references there. One talks about it driving the parasympathetic nervous system, that calms the body. Another says it basically is a GABA facilitator that calms the mind. And there's your PubMed for the herb of spiritual potency, which is pretty fascinating language in the medical literature. So I recommend you do that for 7 to 10 days. All three of those every waking hour. Which form of Ganoderma? Ganoderma spores. Those are the most potent. And by the way, they're kind of hard to find because most companies don't have high enough quality Ganoderma to get the spores, but we can help you with that if you're looking for it. So every Tuesday, I have an Ask the Doctor, one of my favorite hours of the week. I usually have a health topic, and then we open it up to questions. We usually go about an hour, and we can answer a lot of questions across every board. So join us at the Zoom. And as always, I'm Dr. Bob Rakowski, absolutely knowing that we can all be happy, healthy, and successful.